Now we have the speakers, so we can begin our day. We are very happy to welcome you here in this beautiful hall. And I give the floor to begin to Brother Emmanuel Pisani, who's the director of the IDEO, the Dominican Institute for Oriental Studies. Thank you.
Thank you, Adrien. Donc, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, dear brothers, dear friends, as director of the Dominican Institute for Oriental Studies, it is a great honor for me to welcome you to Cairo for our conference entitled The Authority of Silence, Constructing the Figure of the Salafs, 7th to 15th Centuries, held in partnership with the American University in Cairo and Professor Ahmed Khan. This conference, organized under the auspices of the Anawati Chair and with the support of the European Union delegation, allows us to continue a line of inquiry initiated 2 years ago in the context of a research seminar directed by Brother Adrien Candiard. I am deeply grateful to both of them for formulating and developing the intellectual framework that underpins our discussions. Allow me to begin our proceedings by invoking a well-known figure, Abu Hamid al-Ghazali. In his final work, Al-Jam' al-Awam an Ilm al-Kalam, the man revered as Hujjat al-Islam advocated more strongly here than in any of his previous writings the idea that the Salafs, the first generations of Muslims, represent an unsurpassable doctrinal reference point. In his view, any attempt to delve into the subtleties of speculative theology inevitably leads to confusion and error. He thus calls for a return to the piety, doctrinal sobriety, and faith of the ancients, whom he presents as the bearers of an authentic and purer Islam. In this perspective, the silence is not that of their authority, but a doctrinal silence, interpreted as a spiritual and moral choice rather than a lack of intellectual capacity. Where does their authority come from? According to Ghazali, not from rational demonstration, but from historical and spiritual proximity to the Prophet. The authority of the Salafs, he argues, does not lie in their writings or arguments, often lacking or fragmentary, but rather in the legitimacy of their stance, believing without questioning, practicing without engaging in polemics. And yet, our research seminar has shown that the figure of the Salafs as the foundation of Islamic orthodoxy and praxis only emerged as such relatively late. It is indeed quite possible that at the turn of the 11th and 12th century, Al-Ijam itself marks the decisive moment when this authority becomes established. It is only from this point, thanks in large part to Ghazali, that mutakallimun and mufakkirun begin systematically projecting onto these early generations a normative, theological, juridical, and spiritual framework endowed with binding authority. This hypothesis, however, requires carefully qualification and verification. We are therefore called to examine the Islamic intellectual heritage in detail in order to better understand the gradual, fluid, and historically contingent construction of the figure of the Salafs across its many manifestations in Hadith literature, Quranic exegesis, Kalam, fiqh, Sufi spirituality, and even within Shi'i articulations of the concept. I would already like to thank all of the contributors for the interest and commitment they have shown towards this important theme. confident in the fruitful outcomes that the conference will yield under the guidance of Professor Ahmed Rane and Brother Adrien Candiar. I wish you all a productive gathering filled with rigorous, stimulating, and enriching exchanges. Thank you.